What's good, y'all? It's your boy LAROCK, you know what I'm saying? And today we got a very special video. I got a very special guest, my guy John. I'm not sure if some of you guys remember, but 2 years ago we filmed a podcast episode together, and we were, answering you guys' questions on Instagram or whatever. It's basically like a Q&A, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, we basically, elaborated on some of the topics you guys wanted us to talk about. And here we are doing a part 2 years later. But yeah, we got a series of questions that, we're going to elaborate on topics, things that's going on in today's society or whatever. What is the Matrix, and like how do you escape out of it?
Okay. I would say Matrix naturally is just a wound. Mm-hmm. So we live in we were born in a natural matrix, but superimposed on top of the matrix or organic matrix you was born in, the majority or the people who are so-called, you might call me your elder because I've been on the planet longer than you. So because we've been on the planet longer than you, those of us, the ones before us, start to leave. We're living in the external or superimposed matrix that they were responsible for establishing. That's going to happen. That's not evil.
Right.
So you have in the reality a balance between organic and inorganic life. The matrix that you experience when you're going to so-called work and all of this other stuff is an inorganic matrix. It's not evil or against you. It just happens to be that those before us that they call the powers that be, or our so-called elders or minds, established one that was vampiric in nature, meaning that it didn't empower us. It used us, the majority of us, vampired us to empower a minority. And now that world has been destroyed, or that matrix been destroyed. So everyone's really free from it, but not in their mind.
Right.
That had to have happened to me previous to 2020. If that didn't happen previous to 2020, you might as well give them a sleeping bag and a pillow, because they're probably going to be asleep for the next 2,500 years.
Dang. Yeah, that's what I tell people too. Like, the Matrix is nothing but I feel like the Matrix is like a cubicle around your mind. And it's basically like all the beliefs that you were lied to ever since you were a kid, And one thing with me is like people always ask me like, yo, how did you escape the Matrix, LAROCK? I'm like, I just questioned myself. I did a lot of self-reflecting, a lot of like shadow work, I guess. And I feel like growing up as a kid, let's say I was Christian, but deep down I was still questioning stuff. I was that type of kid to always search up the truth about the Illuminati, the third eye. And I never understood it, but I liked diving in that rabbit hole,
That's majority. I would say more than 90% of the babies born are born that way. But it starts in the hospital immediately to break you from that. So most of us don't make it home from the hospital with that still active. But when you come out the womb, you're already questioning. That's why you're really crying.
Wow.
Them hitting you is a proof of their ignorance.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, the shot in the foot. It's proof that it's not a doctor. Anyone that would do that in a so-called hospital is not truly a doctor.
Right.
They're a trained practitioner in keeping you locked down in that artificial matrix that was destroyed.
Right.
You feel me? That was their job. They really believed they were a doctor. But organically, you came out intact. And if we would have left you alone, you would have continued, not just you, but all of the other children would have continued that questioning. You feel me? Because that's the evidence of your soul being alert.
Yeah.
And you came here like that. And those questions would lead you to your highest self originally. So you wouldn't have been born to escape anything. You feel me? You would have been in a maze, but that maze would have been as a part of nature. You feel me? That would bring you to a higher understanding of yourself, not something you was trapped in.
Right. And it's crazy because, like, even with my family, I have conversations, like, for example, with my grandma. It's like she's questioning it, but she's, like, afraid to go deeper. And it's like, this was crazy because one time she was telling me, like, TJ, baby, I hate to tell you, but you've been indoctrinated. I'm like, indoctrinated? Like, what you know about that word? Indoctrinated?
Because they hear a preacher teach that while indoctrinating them.
You know, I was like, and I could tell she doesn't really know what the word indoctrination.
Or no, you know, they didn't. Majority of them, they could be 70. They didn't mature past the mentality of a 7.5-year-old. The trick is to keep my imagination is just as potent as a 7.5-year-old. Shout out to Kambada. Rapper, probably to me the greatest rapper. But I got that from him. He said his imagination is literally like, and that's I feel that myself too. It's like a 7.5-year-old, but because I've been on this planet longer than a 7.5-year-old, I have a greater understanding of self and my environment and more wisdom now through experience to express that imagination. That was the trick. That's so-called escaping the matrix. Can you keep your imagination intact despite all of this that's coming at you from the moment you came out your mother's womb? You feel me?
That's crazy, yo.